Welcome to Trial Exam Part 8. I will be going through question number 2 of the trial exam, and this is testing your knowledge on arrays. First, it's asking, well, I'll explain the question maybe first. Let's go down. Here's the question. The data in each array is related through the subscript. For example, the number in element 0 of the employees array should be the number of hours worked by the employee. Okay, so, and the ID and the pay rate should match. In other words, this is a company that's keeping record of the employee ID and the hours worked and the pay rate for that particular employee and the total wages in 4 different arrays. But if you are looking at the first employee, his ID will be in the first position, which is the 0 index, and his hours worked will be in the 0 index, and pay rate in the 0 one, and the wages in the 0. So it's corresponding, it's matching. Okay, just like the example we did in the week 12 exercises where the marks, student names and the marks were stored in parallel. They're called parallel arrays. Okay, because the index, each index matches the other ones. So if the student name is in one and the student mark is in the same position in the other array. So in this case, employee IDs, notice I've actually changed the variable names because it has to be a bit more meaningful. Employee IDs, because it's plural, here arrays store plural. Okay, they store many numbers, many wages, many names. So each of them are plural. Emp IDs, emp hours, pay rates, and wages. Okay, so let's see. Let's go in here and first declare an array of type int. So the type goes first, and then the square brackets to show it's an array, and the name of the array is emp IDs. And then that's declaring it, and then we create an instance of it by saying new. And what type does the array hold? Integer, and the size of the array. Now the question, it's not at the beginning, it's here somewhere. I saw this. It says 5. It should store 5 employees. Okay, and so let's declare an array size of 5, and that's a constant. So final int, you can call it num employees, which is equal to 5. And then notice I'm not calling it array size. This is a little bit more meaningful, but you don't have to. It's okay to call it array size as well, especially if you have many arrays in the program and they have different sizes. It's best to give it a little bit more meaningful name rather than array size or max. So num employees, that's the array that we are declaring. Okay, and when this happens, a variable name emp ID is given, and it is pointing to the memory location where the array starts, and it's allocated this many spaces. And notice each one of them is an integer, which is 4 bytes. So each of these has 16. So altogether this array requires 14 bytes. Now the next thing is emp hours. So we declare emp hours, and this should be doubles. So please do underline and bold or whatever you want. You can't bold in the exam. Okay, underline, and then you can see it should start by saying double. Okay, it should start by saying double, and then show it is an array by square brackets and the name of the array, which is emp hours. And now creating an instance of it by saying new, and the type of data it holds, and the size of the array. Again, it's the num employees. Okay, that's it. And then in this, again, it's pointing to an array of this size. Pay rates, you don't have, okay, one thing, you don't have to draw all these in the exam. It's just for your understanding. I've done for the explanation. Okay, now pay rates, again, pay rates is the name of the array, but we first go by the type that it holds. Okay, the type it holds is doubles. So double, and show the fact it's an array by square brackets, and the name of the array, pay rates, okay, is equal to, now start a new instance of it. This array hold doubles, and what's the size of the array? Num employees. Okay, there's another array here, wages array. Wages array is again holding doubles. Start by specifying the type, and then the fact that it is an array. This is the array declaration, and the name of the array, wages. Okay, and then now create a new instance of it, this whole doubles, and the array size, which is I already forgot what I call num employees. Num employees. Okay, I've got the answers for you in one color, so hopefully you can see the answers. Right, these are the wages. Now it's saying, after declaring, it's asking you to go in and get the users to enter these details and calculate. Okay, see, the data in each array is already stored. Now we are to calculate, write a loop that uses the emp hours array and the pay rates to calculate the gross wages and store in the gross wages array. It's actually not called gross wages, so I'm going to just change it to wages. So we need a loop. Now whenever we are using an array to go through the entire set of arrays, we need a for loop. So we start with a for loop. Int, declare the variable that we are using, and then it's of type integer. Starting at 0, it will always go as far as the array size, so which is num employees. And then when it should increment by 1. Okay, so every time it enters the loop, what should it do? It should go to the employee hours array and the pay rates and multiply the two, because you need the pay rate times the hours worked and the pay rate. These two multiply together, and then store the answer in the wages array, corresponding wage array. So to get the names again, so first it is the pay rates. Now what are we calculating? We are calculating the wages. Okay, let's just write the general formula. Wages is equal to pay rate times the emp hours. Okay, this is just for one person. Now these are the array names, and we cannot refer to them by this name. Now we need to refer to its location, which is here, jth position. Okay, and in here is the jth position. So because they are all corresponding and matching, when we are calculating the 0th position we want to store it in, we look at the 0th index. Okay, and that's all that's happening in here. It's just a one-line answer here. Okay, write a loop that uses these pay rates, gets the pay rates and gets the employee hours, multiplies them, and puts them in the wages array. Okay, so that's what's happening in this. And let's go back and put something. For example, if we have an employee worked say 40 hours and their pay rate was $50 an hour. Okay, so because it's double, we would have it like this, 40 hours. So that is what happened to the, is that correct? Yeah, I've put it correctly. So that's $2,000. So let's put down $2,000 in decimal places as well. You need the decimal value. Okay, so that's the result. So you've got 40 times 50. Okay, and that's 2,000. So that's the answer. So if you want to look at the employee's wages for that particular employee, and if it even had the, let's say it had the matching ID 1 2 3 4, and there it is. So his ID, his worked that many hours, at that rate, he's got that many wages.